Welcome to the Champion Blueprint Podcast, where mindset meets mission.
We're diving into what it really takes to lead, win, and live with purpose.
From NFL locker rooms to boardrooms, it's all about discipline, core values, and the habits that build champions.
Whether you're leveling up in business, life, or leadership, this is your playbook.
Champion your mindset.
Champion your purpose.
Let's go.
Welcome back to Champion Blueprint, the podcast. Once again, George Rogers here to my left, the champ.
Let's go.
Gary Brackett, how we feeling, my friend?
Man, feeling great. It's funny to see you with the Colts jersey on, the Nike shirt.
Yeah, you know.
It's sweet. It's going to kind of lead into what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
And some of those high compensations the Colts have been making these recent weeks, man. It's good to see. You know what I'm saying? We got some of our guys, but man, what cost?
So yeah, that's, the price of the pay raise is really what happens. Like we're going to dig into what really happens, not just in football. We're going to talk a lot about the football. Shout out to like Daniel Jones. He got his contract.
Yes, sir.
And, Mr. Pierce, AP Pierce, Mr. Deep Threat.
Yes, sir.
Got his threat. We've never seen, a lot of these contracts and a lot of things change. Let's make it a point. TV deals are different.
Yeah.
A little bit higher. And so, the team salary cap's a little bit bigger. But a lot of these salaries they're head scratchers in a sense in some cases. But for me as a man, I ain't never gonna knock the food that they're putting on the table. But what does it do for individuals, even in the workplace? I remember when I got my first raise.
Yeah.
The thing about money, Gary, that I believe is that as we seek promotion, as we seek a title, as we seek a raise financially, in our heads, it's all about how do we take care of ourselves. And sometimes for me, it was like, how do I take care of my family?
Mm-hmm.
How do I provide for them? How do I give my family, the kids, everything that I did not have, right? The struggle to be able to go on multiple vacations, to be able to go on vacations outside of the state, outside of the city, outside of the country. And to be able to do those things, like you envision all the things that pay raise is going to do for you from a personal standpoint, but we always forget about what it does from a business standpoint, the psychological, the pressure, the expectations. And so we're going to dig in that today because the price of a pay raise, the price of a raise in general in life always has its different expectations that nobody ever thinks about.
Yeah.
Let's drop and dig into this right away because you've been here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you've been a part of those process. Back then in your days, there was the generation before you, two generations before you was like, this is what they give linebackers.
Yeah, no question.
Like, does it ever, before we get serious into this, does it ever get in your mind a Phillip Rivers? Now you've been out of the game a lot longer than Papa Phil last year.
Yeah.
But does it ever get in your mind like the what if I can just do it for?
Now, one I can't. Right, that my body 11 surgeries later. I think when I started loving the game again is where I feel like I couldn't compete at that level.
Yeah.
I was bitter when I first left because just like I felt like in my prime,
Yeah.
I could still play. I was better than guys. So it's hard for me to watch them do it. But as life goes on and you get older, you get to a point where I physically can't do what they do. It's like really impressive. But yeah, been there where, you're underpaid and everyone loves you and you're doing your thing, right? And then once you get that big payday, it comes with big expectations.
Yeah. And a lot of times I've heard people say, I regretted taking that promotion. I regretted taking that raise. The expectations are different now, right? Before, as you talked about, when you were underpaid, people was like, man, he's a dog. Yeah. Now that he got what he earned, and
he should be doing that
and
more.
He should be doing that. Now, why ain't you doing it even more? Right. Why isn't the stats? You getting paid now. Why isn't the levels raised up? The responsibilities that come with it.
Yeah.
Success start to change, and not necessarily your responsibilities, but the responsibilities of others around you. So you think about the impact of all those things that happens, not just on the field, not just in the boardroom, not just on the front line, but also the personal things, because everybody wants that promotion. Everybody wants that change and that impact on their life. Everybody wants that, 6-figure opportunity, that 7-figure opportunity. But when the expectation change, everything really changes with them. Talk a little bit about the moment everything changes. And what I mean by this is that when you finally reach that level of high compensation for that area, your first good check, and I'm not sure what was the signing bonuses. Was the signing bonus for the rookies better back then?
No, the signing bonus. I think I got $2,000. It was $1,400 after taxes.
Yeah.
So even my first payday, my third year, it wasn't a huge payday.
Yep.
But after my 8th year, I was top 5 at my position getting paid. So then at that point, like I'm going to different places, and people are like, yo, you know what that is?
Yeah.
Like who did I just get paid? So then people are looking at your stats and looking at your numbers and trying to decipher whether or not you're worth it. And one of the things that I realized, it wasn't just about my play. It was because I accepted those responsibilities that you talked about.
Yeah.
And I was already a captain, I was already a leader, and I was ready to be a force multiplier. Meaning that not only was I ready to do my job at the highest level and command top dollar because I'm one of the best at my position, I was ready to continuously coach others become the best at their positions. Yeah. And I think that's your mentality when you get compensation, when you get that promotion, on how you not only keep that, but how you keep getting that is you start bringing others along with you.
You talk about, you're no longer paid, for the expectations. You're really now, it's like people are not paying you for the respect. Now it's about results.
Yeah.
Like, you had 1,000 yards this year. Or you had 140 tackles this year. But now, like we want to see the results. What's the next level of, now you got all these tackles. Now there's the pressure of getting outside to the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
Like, we got this salary and we're tight. And if you're not the missing piece to get us to this next level, if you don't take that leap to get us to our Super Bowl, whatever your company's Super Bowl may be, or maybe it's now we're going from 6 figures to we want to be a 7-figure company, and we're giving you this promotion and we're giving you this title. Now the results are the power of the expectation of being a results-driven business, a results-driven leader. Sometimes it's too much pressure for some people. It's almost as if, and this is where I believe what we call the hidden regrets.
Yeah,
where people start wondering after the first season or after the first few games, it's like, man, nothing's changed but my pocketbooks, and all of a sudden, a few hometown boos.
Yeah.
And maybe for those who are listening or watching, it's not maybe you don't get the boos from the field, but you get them from the other department.
Yeah,
they realize you got the promotion, or you get them from another team member that thought he or she should have got their promotion, but supposedly they don't have enough experience, or they don't have that that they're seeking, and all of a sudden you hear boos, the internal boos.
Yeah, how
does that impact a person?
I think it could be challenging, right? Because even in a corporation, when someone gets compensated, or a lot of times they just expect compensation to come with a promotion. Someone gets promoted to like a manager position, a CEO, a C-level position. They know that came with a higher check, right? Yeah. So I think people now are looking at you and looking at the consistency, and if you are doing what you're expecting others to be doing, right? So then it becomes the leadership. Everyone now is looking at you, and they don't want to do as I say, not as I do. They want to make sure that you are being the message and living that message and leading by example. And I think that's a key part, because some people don't want to lead by example. Yeah. Like some of our best players on our team, and I tell them this was another thing, like Dwight Freeney, he didn't want to be captain. Yeah. Like he had his own little nuances that he wanted to do. He wanted to go out there and create. He wanted to get his own stats. He wanted to get, 25 tackles a season. And he's a Hall of Famer because of that mentality. He wasn't a guy that was going to be in a position that was going to do what was best for the team. Like he wanted to do he wanted to rush the passer. Yeah. He didn't care if they got 150 yards rushing, right? He wanted to get the quarterback. So I think just assessing who gets that position, and then being in that position with that promotion, assessing, all right, cool, what metrics are we measuring? Yeah. Because a lot of times people think, all right, I'm a sales leader, I got this promotion, maybe you're still doing sales, I still got to crush it. Yeah. But do you really? Or if you have your team crush it, and you were doing 100 sales by your own, and your team was doing 400, but now your team is doing 800, and you're doing 50, you're winning. Yeah. So I think it's that type of mentality that you got to have, when you get that promotion. I
wrote down a few hidden regrets, and I just want to rattle them off and then get your thoughts on them. Number one, the first hidden regret is the freedom decrease. Because you have more money, it's not always less problems. Sometimes it's more problems. You get to have the whole statement: more money, more problems. But sometimes it's not even problems. It's the responsibilities that come with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you get more money, more responsibility, and more responsibility equals less flexibility.
You see that especially in sports and the younger teams, when people get named captain, then they can't fool around as much.
Yeah.
Then they can't, have an off practice or just be down a day, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's a regret that some people have, because it's like they're afraid of leadership.
Yep.
They're afraid of not being that guy that could be a class clown. But like you said, that's a regret, because it definitely comes to the territory when we're talking about promotion and advanced salary.
Yeah. I talk about relationship changes a little bit, because sometimes friends become critics, right? And then peers become competitors. And so, those are hidden regrets. Another hidden regret is performance pressure that a lot of people can't handle. It's easy to do what you do when there's no pressure that you're in expectations on that performance, but you can't just be good anymore. You got to be great. You can't be great anymore. You got to be a Pro Bowler. You can't just be a Pro Bowler anymore. Once you get to the next league, now you got to be. How do you become a Hall of Famer? Right? How do you become part of that next level thing? How do you get to become a Super Bowl champion? It's that performance pressure that gets to people, and then time becomes sacrifice.
Yeah.
Right. And higher earners have less time, because the pressure and the expectation of those things are usually accountable. You're held accountable now at a different level. How do you balance the pressures of those hidden regrets, where now that you're a captain, there's expectations, putting in more work, mentoring the next person, while also saying I'm trying to get my next check by also not also getting replaced by the next younger. Like, I'm thinking about all the different things that happen on the field, like within the team, but also like this happens in business as well, where you're hiring new people, you want to develop people, but it's that mentality, I'm developing my replacement because now my value financially is too much for the business.
Right.
And then what's next for me? Is the business looking out for my next step, even if it's not here, right? And so my goal as a leader, and it was weird, it was different, but it was something that my mentor always taught me, is that even if they're not for you, help them to be for someone else. Yeah. And it'll turn around, because you never know when you're going to need that next business, or that employee that's now in another business, or that business is booming. And hey, my leader impacted me, and this is what we need over here. You never know that circle that's going to come around to be able to have. How do you reinforce? You talked about the multiplier. How do you reinforce all these hidden regrets and also be able to balance like the pressure of change and expectations to be able to go to that next level?
I'm a big proponent of hitting things face on. And I think a lot of times people do situations a disservice by ignoring them and thinking that they are going to go away. When I address the team, I say, hey, look, I get it. I'm the guy. I got paid to be in this position, and this is what my expectations are of myself. Yeah. So I know you guys are looking at me that way. I'm looking at myself that way. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And this is where I'm doing great at, and this is areas where I need to improve. But I'm working on it. Yeah. And I think that transparency, then people will be like, all right, cool. He doesn't think, you know what I'm saying? He doesn't have any faults. He doesn't have any flaws. And I think that transparency then helps those, those people you talked about being critics. It helps them being critical, because they like, hey, like, let's help him. Because then I think the biggest thing is, for me as a leader, is not to create more followers, but to create more leaders. Yeah. So how can I encourage, empower, give other people the belief to help them do their job at a higher level that indirectly is going to help me perform at a higher level? Yeah.
I want to give some value, because once you become the guy, I'm thinking now that Daniel Jones and AP, from the offensive standpoint, along with JT, you got Quentin on the line, kind of that core four of our offense, now that they're paid, I'm thinking of JT in his head. It's time for him to get his next check. And running back's life in the NFL is not always there. But I'm thinking about the pressure that AP and Daniel Jones have on them. And now that they're the guy, and I'm thinking about this even from a business and a leadership standpoint, when you are now that person, that leader, that guy, that lady that is in charge, the people watch is now on you. When I talk about people watch, I'm talking about, number one, for me, when I think about people watching me as a leader, now that they like the spotlight's on, the first thing that I believe people are watching is your discipline. Yeah. How do you show up? What time are you showing up? Because now that you're the person, everybody's following this. Oh, well, if he's getting paid this, she's getting paid that, and they're coming in at such and such time, their discipline is at such and such level. Why can't I have that same standard? And it goes back to some coaches. They always say, like, we're going to treat everybody fairly, but some people are just going to be treated differently.
Yeah,
right? We'll treat you fair, but some people are just different in those positions. But number one, I believe the people will watch your discipline to what you're doing and how you're doing it, what you're putting in and how you're putting it in still. After you get that check, are you still putting in that work? The second thing I believe people watch is preparation. After you have your discipline, how are you preparing? How are you putting in the work? Are you still coming in lifting? Are you doing your pre-lift before your team? Are you coming in preparing for meetings? Are you just coming in and saying, hey, I'm the woman now, I'm the man now, and this is the way our leadership, this is the way our meetings are going to go? Are you still putting in that preparation to be able to do those things? The third thing is that how does money change your attitude? Because how you now behave, speak to people do you still speak to them as if they're still on your level, or do you speak to them as if you're above them? Right? Because money changes a lot of people. And beyond the money, title changes people. Yeah. Because now their role is different. I don't have to do the dirty work. I don't have to pick up the trash out of the bathroom. That's for, does your attitude change? And the attitude for me is not always verbal, Gary. It's the attitude of your body language. Yeah. And how you treat other people.
I think, man, what you said was so good. It's just like, who do you become? Yeah. And that's so important, to not let that money define you, and to think that you're better than what you are. Right. I think, what got you there, what got you there won't get you there, type sort of thing. But I think what got you there is some of that humility, some of that work ethic, some of the things you've done. That shouldn't change. Yeah. Like you shouldn't start acting different or treat anyone different because you got money. And you see that a lot when,
identity shift.
And a lot of people says money just amplifies what you already are. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times, unfortunately, people are already that, right? But they were that broke. Yeah. So that was money. So I think being a good person, being a good human, I think is critical. But for me, it's always been on my mind. It wasn't about getting there. It's about keeping it, sustaining it, and then even taking it to that next level. How can I continue to make this money or to have this increase? How can I continue to make an impact as a leader moving forward, as opposed to like, just because I got this one promotion or this increase right now, just keeping this. No, I want to take this to the next level.
What I hear you saying is like there's an identity shift. Yeah. When it comes to that next level. And for me, it goes from performer to leader. It goes from the person who's going to contribute to the person who's going to, you use the word, the multiplier. Yeah. Right. And so I'm not just contributing. How do I multiply? How do I take this from, I don't want to create followers to create more leaders. Correct. How do I take this opportunity to say, listen, I don't want to just create for me and mine. How do I feed other people? Yeah. How do I raise this level to where we're bringing other people up? I think about, a lot of people don't like LeBron James, but I think about what he did from a financial standpoint for the business. What Jordan did from a brand standpoint was monumentally huge for the game of the NBA. I think what LeBron James did from the standpoint of changing the control and the power of employees' pay, right, and how they can control that contract was huge for the NBA players and what they're getting paid today, right? And so how you do those things to be able to add up and really give other people the power to be able to help their own identity is huge. When it comes to identity for me, I always think about, Gary, are you wearing a mask, right? Like, is this really Gary, right? Or is this a mask? And when something changes, when the title changes, now is Gary putting on a mask? Yeah. Or is Gary still Gary? And oftentimes for me, there's a switch. You see people take off a mask. You see people put on this mask. How hard is it to remain true to yourself when it comes to identity shifts, when it comes to promotions? And not necessarily for yourself. I'm thinking even in your entrepreneur days earlier on when you were empowering. Like I can imagine being a part of Stack Pickles and Gary say, "Hey, I trust you with my business. I want you to run XYZ. I want you to be over all my stores." The impact that means to me growing up, like I'm thinking, especially it's not like you're going to another city, going to LA doing this. You're doing this where you made a name for yourself in a business and a career, and now you're impacting your community. How often did identity shifts within your team with Stack Pickles and some of the restaurants that you had?
Yeah, I think some people's expectations of me changed.
Yeah.
So a lot of times it's not the person that changed, the people's expectations of you changed because they think now that you have these many stores or these many people or this many employees. And for me, I'm like, no, I try to keep things the same. Yeah, my time may be a little bit more strained now because I got more responsibilities, but my core values are still my core values. Like my beliefs are still my beliefs. And I think letting people understand that and understand kind of where they are is always a thing. I don't know if you heard this before, but your friends are like, hey, don't forget me when you get big time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You get that a lot. They're just like, nah, I don't forget you. But at the same time, I've changed. So I realized what I used to do and what I'm doing now is different.
Yeah. That's good. Let's talk about that because there's a gap there. We talked about the sacrifices or hidden regrets. When you lose friendships, you lose connections. Some friends, they don't want Gary to forget them. Yeah. But they also don't forget their own principles and values. And so when Gary's principles and values and expectations are here and you're still that class clown, ignorant, irresponsible, it's as if you changed, but it's not that you have changed. No. But you're elevating. And so that's a good point out in the call out because sometimes we're not saying don't change. We're saying change and keep elevating yourself and impacting others. But also you're saying now, some people still perceive that as a negative because they see you changing, but you're changing to continue to grow, continue to be significant in life.
One of my good friends, blessed with time, Antoine Newsom, he's a pastor. He's a good friend. And he told me one time, everyone's not your assignment. And I struggled with that early on. We talked about earlier being a recovering people pleaser and all that type of things. And everyone's not my assignment. And people are given the same 24 hours that I have. Yep. You know, people are, offer maybe different opportunities, maybe not the same as mine, but they have the ability to be successful. They have the ability to do what they want, and they make choices in life. And at the end of the day, they're responsible for their choices just like I am.
Yep.
For me, I never say I'm going to cut someone off or stop dealing with someone, but we talked about this. I'm going to deal with them in that way.
Yeah.
Right? I know this is what you're on. This is what your limitations are. If I go on this vacation and we're doing a whole bunch of things, I'm not going to put that burden on you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But if we're going local in the game or something like that, maybe we'll do something like that. So I think for me, just learning just how to decipher where I'm at with friendships and how things are playing out and making a decision kind of based on that and just do my best to kind of, be decipher and being transparent about, why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yeah. What advice would you give George or a young Gary?
Mm-hmm.
Your young king right now is becoming a dog in preparation, wrapping up his 8th grade year.
Yeah, absolutely.
A couple more semesters. And he's putting in work on the off season, right? What advice would you give him? And then what advice would you also give that leader that's seeking compensation, whether it's a title, whether it's a pay raise? What are 2 or 3 things that you would say to them before they receive that or chase that expectation and the pay raise?
It's hard, right? Because pay is top of mind and you want to get that raise. But I just feel like just the old Coach Dungy, take care of the little things and the big things take care of themselves. If you fall in love with the process, if you put the work in, like the rewards are going to come. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily if, but when. So now you just preparing yourself for that moment to come. But when that moment does come, nothing can change.
Yeah.
You have to still be in love with the process. You have to still be in love with being the best and challenging yourself. And then that money you shouldn't treat anyone differently. You shouldn't treat yourself differently, but maybe eating better protein, eating more steaks, things like that, right? But I think trying to keep things the same as possible. I remember, even now to this day, I pump my own gas, right? Like, yes, I pump my own gas, and
Gary pumps his own gas.
Some people
you go to the grocery store.
Some people they see me out and I'm like, yo, bro, you pump your gas at the grocery? Like, who else is gonna do this?
Yeah.
And someone you remember Chronicles of Narnia?
Yes.
So I was sitting at it was like, oh, this could be like a movie. I was sitting in the cold tub in my body, and there was an old veteran player there. He had knee surgeries. He had like a 3-year career, couldn't play. And he just, hey man, he's like, gee, I'm gonna tell you this, man. Don't go through those doors. Like, don't go through those Narnia doors, and you go there and you think this is a fantasy world. I'm like, the closer thing you keep things in reality, the better you're gonna be when you transition. Yeah. And I think that held true for me, and it held true to a lot of people that I know that kind of stayed true to their roots. Yeah, they're successful. Yeah, they had income. Yeah, they had promotions. But they're still real, and they're still true to themselves.
Yeah. So number one, can I handle the pressure?
Yeah.
That comes with it, whatever that pressure looks like. And if you don't know what the pressure is, I'll be asking those type of questions. Let's speak to those who are just in the workplace. If you're seeking a raise at your job right now, or if you're seeking a title, promotion, whatever it may be, ask yourself, can you handle the pressure? And if you don't know what that pressure may look like, or what that pressure, the added pressure, responsibility looks like, those are the questions you should be asking your leader. Number one, hey, leader, I want to know what added pressure is there if I was to take another step in leadership, if I was to take another step for a promotion and seek those things. What are some pressures that I don't have right now on my table and on my plate that's going to be there? Right. That's number one. Are you able to handle those pressures? Number two is, are you willing to lead others? If you're not willing to lead others, and listen, by leading others, I mean lead yourself well first, number one, and lead by example. Can you handle the pressure? Because if you can't handle the pressure leading others, people are going to be looking at you. And the power of leadership, Gary, is that I'll never say, Gary, can you be my leader?
Right.
But what I will say is, Gary just got a raise. He is a leader.
Yeah.
Most people are not going to say you're the leader. Most people may not acknowledge you as a leader, even with a promotion, but because they know that you got one, the expectations, the blind expectations is what you can call those things, is that people that are not even in your department are going to be watching you now because they see that different title, they see that promotion, and the expectation that you're leading people that you don't even know you're leading because they're watching you, because they saw what you got, they saw what you did.
Absolutely.
Are you willing to lead others? Number three, are you willing to be accountable publicly?
Yeah.
Now, because it's beyond those things, especially if you're seeking 6 figures or more, you get these C-suite titles. There's a public responsibility and accountability that comes with that, to where I always say, others may and I may not. There's things that I can no longer do.
Yeah.
That's going to distance your friendships and relationships. But I can't always stay out late anymore. I can't always drink and party every night, every weekend, that there's an opportunity. Others may, but I may not. There's a veil of responsibility that comes with that. And then number 4, do I have the discipline? Not just to have discipline, but do I have the discipline when nobody is watching? Do I get to hit the snooze button? Right? Or do I stay disciplined to the cause and the purpose? Because those things matter so much when it comes to the responsibilities for me. So when I think about what are some things you need to do, it's do I have the discipline when nobody's watching? Yeah, am I willing to be accountable publicly? Am I going to be a leader to all people, even those I do not know are watching me, right? And can I handle the pressure? Do I know the pressure? Those are 4 things that I would have. Anything as we wrap this up, Gary? Because
I love what you just said, and I think for me, you are defined by what you do when no one's watching.
Yeah.
What you do when no one's watching, the food that you eat, the things that you consume, the work that you put in or don't put in. Those are the things that are going to define you at the end of the day. So if you want to change your life, don't tell me.
Yeah.
Show me.
That's good. That's so good. I'll leave with this. I'll say, for me, it's never been about money.
Yeah.
Because I've lost a lot of money, but I've been able to gain money as well. I would say chase responsibility. I would say chase relationships and friendships. And value those things, because how I treat Gary, how you treat the person next to you on your left or right and in your company matters so much, because you never know, again, that responsibility of when you're going to need that person again in your life, or when they may need you. And so chase a responsibility that you're willing and ready to carry.
Yep.
Because compensation is going to always come and go. And it's always going to want more. The one thing I know about life, Gary, is that the George at 43 right now is still the same George at 23. After one raise, I want another one.
Yeah, that's it,
the
baby.
money has never made me happy.
Yeah.
Like, it just makes you hungry.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily for me. It was never the money that really made me hungry. It was the excitement and the passion that I'm fulfilling my purpose and impacting somebody else's life. That I'm adding value to somebody else's life. That I'm adding less followers and more leaders. Into this world. And so as you think that you're needing the money is always going to be needing more, because with more money comes more responsibilities and less flexibilities, and more people are going to be dependent on you,
no doubt,
not to pump your own gas and buy your own groceries.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And so never chase the money, never chase the title, because those ain't going to be on your tombstone.
Yeah.
Chase the impact that you can make on another person's life, believing in them, raising that bar, giving them an opportunity and opening the door for somebody else. Because when you do that and you champion your purpose, you champion your mindset.
I love it.
That's the blueprint to success and being significant in life. Gary Brackett, I appreciate you, my brother. I'm glad you're here. Beyond success, this man is significant and making an impact all over, speaking, workshopping, developing other people. If you love this podcast, like this podcast, we appreciate your support. Like, share, comment, subscribe if you have not subscribed, but also tell somebody that needs the Champion Blueprint podcast in their life. Until next time, George Rogers, the champ, the captain, Gary Brackett. Let's go.